Hello, I'm sitting here in the car, and I wanted to demonstrate something really that I do on the run or when I'm moving around. And it's something really simple, but it has to do with like the felting, right? So I posted a video earlier about felting and the felting techniques. You can see from like my hands and stuff like that. But because I'm recording it from a tablet, you might not see the spectrum of things. But what I wanted to show is like different like felting techniques, right? So in the other video, I'm working on a higher class or a higher quality art doll, and I'm using the 100% wool. On this one, I wanted to use as an example of what you could use with even cheaper materials. So over at Michael's, you can grab this. I don't know if you can see it. It's falling apart here. Inflate it for you. Loops and Thread. Yeah, Loops and Threads classic fiber fill. I like this stuff because it felt very well. So what I wanted to show you was the different kind of things you can do with felting. Like I see so many different felting videos where they just make a standalone character. It looks about like this big, and it's just standalone, right? Now what I'm doing here is I'm taking this, I don't know if you can see it, EcoFill Classic. This is 100% polyester. It's supposed to like work like wool and felting wool, but this is a baby blue color, and since it's 100% polyester fiber made with recycled post-consumer materials, it is like the earth-friendly and the cheap option. One of the things you can do with this is you can work it just like any other art medium, and you can sculpt it like these ears and things. Okay, so see with the ear here, the way it's sculpted. This is with the EcoFill, so you can get like sculpting detail, and you can get shapes of things with this material, with this fiber. It blends better with the wool, 100% wool. As you can see, like here, it looks like there's like a lot of, the folds ends up scarring here, and then you have patchwork you can do. But when you blend it, see, when you blend it, the sun is not helping me. When you blend the fibers into each other, there is a large amount of, let's see. The way it blends isn't as clean as wool. It doesn't take to each other like the same way wool does. Like here, you see along here, it's the Frankenstein stitching. Now this is just the punching of like the one piece on another piece. Like say this piece of the ear here that's missing, I cut a piece of this out, and I want to felt it on here. It will have the Frankenstein stitching, but if you wanted to use the blend techniques like I showed you in the first video, where you actually blend the line, it won't work as well with the EcoFill. But for some projects, I don't think it really matters. You can still do setting sun is killing me, but I'm trying to trying to show here that you can still have something that looks pretty good regardless of the price point of the material you're using. So I mean, you can let's see here, you can blend it in. Here, I'll show you in a second here. Okay, so with the way I have this one being created is a lot of it's patchwork. So you like just cut out a piece and you lay it on the sun. I tell you, I thought doing something like on location, like something that, you know, with a project you can do in the, like when you're on the go. It's not working out right. Okay, so there's like a hole here. You can see where there's the fiber film poking through. See that white spot? And so what I'm going to do is just use this piece here to cover it. Now, normally you don't really necessarily need a piece of this big. I just wanted a piece that was going to show up. Yeah, I'll show you. Okay, I tried to arrange the camera better so you can see what I'm doing here. Take the piece of felt. Yeah, there we go. That filter, they have that beauty face filter, is not helping anybody. Does it make me look more beautiful? Yeah, right. So, if you can see, this, I was going to try to show you the blending techniques I use for this, but on location, felting, in the sun, it's not working. But you can see, like, what I do is I gently punch around the circumference of the felted piece, right? And just kind of tacking it in. And then I kind of gently work it. And yeah, let's see, I gently work it around the circumference. This ends up making it look a little patchworky. Now, some people like that ragdoll look. And if you want to save a buck and like felt something like a ragdoll type character, and some people actually like that. I've seen people buy those for a pretty decent price on Etsy. I even tried to put this filter makes it so bad. It's so hard to see. All right. So anyway, yeah. I wanted to explain a little bit more about this this new character I was felting here too, because I wanted to do a video on different styles of joints and different styles of material and what it ends up creating. Okay, as you can see here, like when you try to blend what is actually the camera picking up? This part here. Hold on, I'm gonna try to readjust it. Okay, surprise. So I put the square on there and I slowly felted it in, and you can see, as you can see, that one square you can't even see, but you can see where other seams are, right? And this is what I'm talking about, blending in the seam. So you just gently keep poking around the edges and you blend those seams in. Yeah. Now some of the seams don't blend as good as others. And I think it really comes down to, in my opinion, is the material. Like, this is the recycled material. I think wool is more pliable, so it's able to blend better. But I still think you can get like an attractive character with this material. So like, this is what I got started. I got these. This is glow in the dark parachute cable. You can get it at any craft store or like store that sells art supplies. They'll have like parachute cables for people who like to make bracelet and stuff. What I did was a series of I guess they're lasso knots, or this hangman knots, and I did the series so that I knew like elbow joint, wrist joint, things like that, and I did it. And when I would felt the core on top of that, and then I'd felt the skin on top of that. So I have, well, this is kind of like a skeletal structure that will run through the whole thing, and then this will be like an elven character eventually. And we're going to do the loose joints at first, here like that, just it'll kind of have this like puppety feel to it. But this is like a way you can do the joints, and you can actually have this whole structure all the way through. And then get the fiber fill. You get the fiber fill, and you take a section of arm, and you just engulf it. Like, say you want the arm to be like this, and you kind of eyeball how much fiber fill you need. If you take too little, it's fine, because you can always build upon it. And you just start building on top of the parachute cable, and you can actually felt right into it. And as you're felting into it, you can slowly kind of fix like how you want it to work. So I want this to be the elbow joint, so I just want this right here to be the bicep, tricep, deltoid area. And really what it comes down to for this chunk is just just adhering the fluff to the skeletal structure, and then you'll be slowly shaping it here. And I'll just skip forward. You can see what I'm doing. I'm slowly poking in the bulging areas, and it's like giving shape to cotton candy. And working around this so that it is like the bone of the arm, and the fibers are actually being felted occasionally into it, so that it is structured like so. And you just keep working at it until you actually have the shape, the desired shape you want. I'll fast forward, you'll see. Okay. So you can see how, once you felted it a bunch, how it can fit around the skeleton, and then, you know, you have this kind of joint thing. type thing going on, and it works the same with this. Once you start adding the fiber fill to it and felting onto it, and then you can slowly work it down so it's not so large, and then you'll get the desired shape, of the arm that you want. You are sculpting, so like if you get into this and you're kind of like, oh, it's not turning out right, just keep sculpting arms, sculpting legs, sculpting body parts, or just understand some aspect of anatomy. And then from here, okay, now you can see that the arm is more tightly felted, that it's more compact. It's not that wispy stuff anymore. It's more of like a squishy plush material. I can see how these are just like, it's loosely put together, but it does create the skeletal structure needed for the fiber fill. Then what I do is I get a piece of felt, and I kind of assess like how much room is needed, like, okay, we'll probably need about probably gonna need about this much, like that, and then we'll just trim off this piece here, and then we'll get the felting this part onto the roving, or onto the fiber fill. A lot of times there'll be parts that you can't perfectly line up, and then it'll be, it'll have a little bit of the kind of the patchwork filler, where you'll take like a piece of scrap and you'll find where like right here, you'll find where this like little part is, and then you'll cover it, and then you'll felt that on there like that. But you probably want to trim it from here to here, so it would perfectly fit that space. And then you take like this. The sun's died down a little bit more, so it's not so overbearing. You wrap it, and you felt it on there just like that. It's like felting on a skin. A lot of times I just go around and I start tacking in the corners, like that, and then it'll hold on its own, and you just keep going through. Like this, and you just tack it on. I don't know if you can see that. Like that. So it looks like stitching when you do it along the side here, and you just keep going. You just keep going till the whole seam is like laid down, and you go along this. If you cover one line, cover the edge with the other, you can gently work this whole seam, and it'll blend and end up looking like these seams here. So that seam you can see here, it goes into like this, It goes around. This is a seam. These are different pieces of cloth that have overlapped and felted in. I didn't blend this. This is just tacked on, but you can see how it's the same thing with the leg here, this Frankensteining. But overall, once you take a step back and once you felt it all, and then you can felt like clothing and things, you'll have like a little character that, you know, is actually really cheap. Each sheet of this eco fiber fill stuff was like 50 cents each. You can get it on sale at like a Joann's or something for like 20 cents, 30 cents for each sheet. And then you can, if you just take the time, you can blend, like say on the face here, you can blend these. You can blend these seams. You can see it going right here. But I just don't think it blends as well as the wool, but I still think it has a cute character quality to it, and someone will find it endearing enough to actually enjoy it if you give it enough time. And I'll do more videos so you can see like further on down like how, you know, how much effort actually kind of goes into making this, but it actually, you know, it becomes like a marionette puppet type thing, but it also has that plush quality to it that, you know, won't hurt a kid, and you can make it yourself. All right, well, thanks for sticking with me for this period of time. Unseen, right? But I hope you have a good day.